We asked you about North Korea. Kim Jong-un is threatening a Christmas surprise for the world.
Oh, that's okay. We'll find out what the surprise is, and we'll deal with it very successfully. And let's see what happens. Everybody's got surprises for me, but let's see what happens. I handle them as they come along. So you saw that. These are great people. Our military is now replenished. We were totally depleted when I came into office, and it's great stuff. It's great stuff. What's happened, and you see these incredible people. We have the best in the world. So it's totally replenished. New equipment's coming in on a daily basis. It's being made, all made in the USA, and our economy is the strongest it's ever been.
What options are you considering, Mr. President, if it does end up being a long-range missile test?
We'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. Let's see. Maybe it's a nice present. Maybe it's a present where he sends me a beautiful vase as opposed to a missile test, right? I may get a vase. I may get a nice present from him. You don't know. You never know.
No, I don't know, actually, Donald. It's very hard to follow you. It's especially difficult to follow a president who actually says the military was completely depleted when he came into power, when actually the United States was spending more on defense than the next 16, 17, 18 countries on the planet. We've had some problems in the United States, but certainly spending too much on defense, or too little on defense, actually, has not been one of those for a very long time. That was, of course, Donald Trump on Tuesday when he was asked about North Korea leader Kim Jong-un, hinting at a, quote, Christmas gift for the U.S. David Ignatius, this past weekend I've been reading up on Harry Truman, fascinated by the president that set up these institutions and set up these doctrines, whether you're talking about, the Truman Doctrine in response to Greece and Turkey, or whether you're, NATO or the Marshall Plan. I've been reading up on Truman, the extraordinary things he did in 4 or 5 years that actually, saved democracy across Europe for the next 50 years. A lot of these institutions Donald Trump's trying to tear apart. And as he was gaining momentum, it was Korea. It was the issue of Korea that actually undercut him, distracted him, which he responded to very well. But here we are all of these years later, and we're still dealing with Korea. And Donald Trump specifically, at least it looks like it, from my vantage point, is not handling Korea well. He's given a photo op to Kim Jong-un, and in response, they've sped up testing, and it looks like more's to come. Where do we stand right now with North Korea?
Joe, North Korea is, you might say, that the toothache that just doesn't go away. You forget about it for a while, but it's still there, and as potentially difficult and dangerous as ever. President Trump's tactic toward North Korea, I would sum up in the word flattery, flirtation. He has tried to develop a mentor, kind of uncle-like relationship with Kim Jong-un after an initial period of intense rhetoric in 2017. He opened the way for an historic summit in Singapore in June of 2018, and there was a hope that perhaps this was laying the foundation for real discussion about the denuclearization of the Korean Peninsula that was promised by the two leaders at that Singapore summit. We've been waiting ever since to see what that commitment really looks like in practice. What are the ways in which the two countries move toward meaningful, verifiable denuclearization? There was a second summit in Hanoi early this year, in February, that was supposed to begin to set the specifics, and it was a bust. It was a complete failure. The North Koreans made an offer that the U.S. thought wasn't even close to being in the ballpark. The U.S. made a counteroffer the North Koreans found insulting. The summit blew up. Everybody went home. And we've been in a kind of limbo ever since. And Kim Jong-un is reminding us, with all this talk about the Christmas surprise, that he's not going to wait forever. And so this issue is going to come back big time for Donald Trump in 2020. It's an election year. It's a year when he doesn't want to seem to be, I don't think, on the nuclear brink with anybody. He wants to be seen as a strong, self-confident leader. Kim Jong-un is going to make that difficult. He's going to do something disruptive. That's the way he operates. And I don't see any sign that the U.S. has yet figured out the basic issue at the core of this, which is how do we get North Korea to begin to actually give up its nukes? What do we offer them? How do we use China as leverage to get to that point? I don't see any answers yet.
There are no good answers, and we've been saying it around the table for some time now, Mark Leibovich. North Korea is not going to give up their nuclear weapons. Whatever comes out of this, denuclearization will not be the result. And it's fascinating. You know, Barack Obama told Donald Trump that he could complain about Obamacare all he wanted to during the transition. He said this to him. He said, but it's going to be North Korea that's going to keep you up at nights. I don't know if that's what keeps Donald Trump up at night, but it should, because North Korea is not going to give up their nuclear weapons. And Donald Trump made the mistake of believing he could just go over and have a summit, get a couple of pictures taken, shake Kim Jong-un's hand, and we'd all live happily ever after. Told us, actually, afterward, we don't have to worry about their missiles or their nuclear weapons anymore. And here we are.
Yeah. Yeah, he did say that. I mean, look, the clip that you just showed doesn't exactly evoke the sort of a president who has a plan here. I mean, I think, look, this is, as David said, it's an ongoing toothache. It will certainly rear its head in the very near future. I don't think that this issue has moved forward at all. I think, if anything, it's an embarrassment to the president, and I think that there's going to be a lot of juxtaposition between his remarks, at various points saying this threat has been diminished, this threat no longer is something that we have to worry about, to whatever happens next. And you know that there's going to be another chapter here. It's coming. Mark Leibovich, thank you so much. We really appreciate you being with us today. And still